Why do women attack men when they're happy? That's a thing that every man that dates women wonders. This one took me a long time to realize because I just, like some things I can't imagine that anybody would do. And so, when it's outside of your kind of sense of reality, you're like, no, no one's going to attack a guy when he's happy. And women would, I think, recoil at this one. But if you listen to this episode, I think most women are going to agree with me that it's true. And it's very telling also. Because when you really break it down, this one thing might change your life, especially if you're married right now. So let me break this down, like not only why women do it, but what you can do about it, okay? And how to sense that they're doing that. Because again, it's outside of the reality for most guys. Like most guys can't imagine, it's like, why would you, for example, if somebody said that some people get angry when they overcome their colds, you'd be like, how is that possible? Right? And so then some guys, guys that really have a lot of anger issues, they're going to go crazy about something like this because they're going to be like, I want to break it down in a very, very non-emotional way so you can understand not only why people act the way they do, but also when you know that it's time to do something and then what to do. Okay, so let's go over. Here's this common meme that's going around right now.
Men when they're happy.
Women attack men when men are happy?
Mm-hmm.
So wait, why do women do that?
Because happiness and power comes together in a man's body, and the power is scary.
Okay, so, what's very telling about this is the older woman here. She is describing something that she knows is true. And every older woman knows this. And every married guy kind of might not want to think about it because he doesn't want to think about the implications. This video is going to help you to think about it because there is no dark implications for you. It's for the guys who don't know. The guys who don't understand. Don't listen to Ronin, man. They're not getting the breakdown, so they don't know what to do. So they either do nothing or they get, they do something that makes them look bad or they do the wrong thing. But let's break this down. Okay, so women attack men when they're happy. Now, she's going to go later in this. She's going to say when or what kind of woman or what kind of relationship they do each of these two things. So that's an important part here. Not all women at all times do this. But she's saying here that when a man is happy, he feels powerful. And I think that is accurate. When a man is happy, his chest is wide and broad, and he feels good, and it bleeds into all other parts of his life. His sexual stamina, his skill at pool, his confidence in himself when taking on a big challenge, something like a new career or a new language or something that's moving or something that's very, very challenging. You know how it is, guys. When you feel good, you just feel fucking good. And those women that make you feel good and those friends that make you feel good, you just love them because you're just like, yeah, and there's this feeling is I can do it. Now, what these women don't understand about men is that this is kind of the natural state of a man, actually, is very confident. Men are overconfident. And why are we overconfident? Because it pays off in our lives, is to be overconfident. We're just like, I'm the biggest stud in the world. I'm going to roll in there. And they roll in there and they do it all. They try, And the thing is that trying is what makes it happen. And that came from confidence. So your confidence is a very sensitive, important aspect of your your skill set as a man is confidence. Confidence is key. is really important. Now, confidence comes from success, but also just confidence just comes from funny things like this, like she talks about here. Now, her explanation of what women's response I don't quite agree with. So she's saying that it scares them and terrifies them. I think that's just patently not true. Women are not terrified of men. If women were terrified of men, then they wouldn't be in relationships. They are terrified that he will not be under their total control, is what I think. Women feel like they know when a man is confident, he might get other girls, right? So that's one reason why a girl will feed you too much, especially third world girls tend to do this, third world. They tend to feed you until you're fat so that you don't have any options. And it seems counterproductive because you're like, oh no, women like studs. But more important, they like control. And this is what she's not telling the truth on, is really how diabolical women can be. And it's really like absolute dictatorship. Women want total control of you. Absolute control of every aspect of your life, every thought and every action. And that's the truth. And anytime they don't have that, they're very insecure. And maybe probably it comes from evolution, where women would lose a man and then not have money and die. The same reason why a man would be terrified of the group liking him. The reason why men are terrified of being thrown out of a group is because men know, well, historically, we evolved in groups of 150. And if somebody was very unacceptable, they had very unacceptable behavior, like they did something sexually or they committed something that the group can't forgive, even if it's a religious thing or depending on what the belief system was at the time, the tribe would disown them and put them outside the group, would not allow them to benefit from the group's water, the group's defense, the group's housing, nothing. And so that was basically a death sentence because of all the animals and just the dangers. We needed a group of 150. That's why that number evolved, because that covers all the bases that we need as best we can, right? Without houses and cars and guns. We just had to do it with human intelligence and the tools that we had. And so we are terrified of what people think about us because as men, because our ancestors were either thrown out or not thrown out. And our ancestors could have been thrown out of the tribe. So for example, if your great ancestor impregnated your mom and then he got thrown out, you would know he died a terrible death, and that you as a child would be very afraid of what happened to your dad, right? So some of our ancestors were thrown out, and the children of those ancestors. So we know that that's bad. Women, on the other hand, they're really, before welfare, before governments, their meal ticket, their safety was a man. And it was a strong man who was determined and was intelligent and was strong and could protect them. And if they lost that man, or if they didn't have their eye on the ball and he wandered to another girl and they didn't do anything, it's the same kind of penalty. How is a woman by herself going to raise a child? It's not going to happen. The child's not going to make it, and she won't make it in a good way. So women, actually now I answer my own question. So women have a very good reason for wanting to know every single thought you have. Actually, that's true, actually. But obviously we don't live in those times. And in modern days, this is a totally unreasonable thing. And you need to know as a man how to manage that with women, right? You need to know how to manage that basically illogical fear that a woman would have. Because today, if they get divorced, they might even have more money because they get a new guy, they got the old guy. X, et cetera, et cetera. But so I guess she's right about terrifying us, but she doesn't explain it. Now, she probably doesn't know, like, why they're terrified, right? It's because they want to know everything and they want to have power over man. Okay, let's go on to more here.
Terrifies us, especially if we don't feel connected to you.
Okay, now, especially if we don't feel connected to you. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, what is the definition? Can you start to think about this, what it means? So one thing would be if you're starting to be distant. So if you've changed around your wife, your girlfriend, right? They start to get very nervous because, like I said, historically, not today, there's something terrible could happen if she doesn't know why he changed. If she knows, something affected him, like he lost his job or his mother is sick or, something that he's very concerned about is happening, then she's like, oh, okay, now I know why he's changed, right? But if she doesn't know, there's that fear of you leaving, right?
Because we're afraid to use it against us.
Now, this, I don't think so. I think she's absolutely wrong on this one. So what she's saying is that women are just terrified of men and they're afraid of men having power and they're going to use it against us. What that means, okay, let's use the Women Speak dictionary. Dictionary at hand. It's basically, we don't have control of you. And we like control. We're control freaks. We want to know every thought even before you think it, right? We want electrodes tied into your head. Women stalk, and they stalk, like guys stalk their exes, right? Women stalk their current boyfriends. They want to know every fucking thing he's done. Like, they stalk the hell out of you. Stalker problem is mainly women in my experience. Women are major stalkers, both before, after a relationship, and during. All three parts. Women are stalking usually somebody at all times, basically. Think about that.
If we feel connected to you, then we're happy you're happy.
Okay, now, here's one that you might not expect, a lesson. If we're connected to you, then we're happy you're happy. Okay, what does that mean in Ronin language? What does that mean to me? Okay, what that means, is you got to go back to the When She's No Longer Fun video. And I'll see if I can find that one to post below. Because basically, most relationships, the dog is dead. Okay, the dog is dead. You got to watch The Dog is Dead too. So what is the test? The test is, and I said this in another video, which I don't remember the title, was basically you start to watch her, okay? And there's certain things, there's certain giveaways. One of them I found to be very effective is if I'm in a group, if she's in a group, so let's say there's a party, or there's just a group of people there, and she might know you're coming or she might not know, okay? The microsecond she sees you, what expression is on her face? What expression is on her face? Before she has a chance to get logical and be nice. Okay? Before she doesn't know when you're coming, or she doesn't even know that you are coming. And then suddenly you show up. So it could be something like she's at a party and she doesn't know when you're getting off work. Okay? So I'm not saying it's a surprise. It's like often a surprise just because of logistics, right? She doesn't know when you're coming, right? So then you show up. Her face will tell you, okay? There's certain tell signs. I've talked about different ones over the years, but you want to know what she really feels about you. Why do you want to know that? Well, the reason is because you're leaving. Basically, a fake relationship I don't have time for. So if a woman loves me and is very connected to me, then I'm okay. I love it. It's a very beneficial thing. But that's why I don't pay prostitutes, because I don't want anybody around me who doesn't want me. who doesn't like me. And same goes for a girlfriend who basically because of boredom or time or new things or menopause or whatever the fucking reason. I don't care what the reason is. It's like a car. The car does not care. The cat, if you have a cat and you suddenly don't want the cat does not care the reason. The cat just needs a home, right? And that's the way I am. If the woman no longer wants me, see, she might stay with me because of money or because of some other reason, right? She might stay with you because you have a house. She might because, whatever reason. Health insurance, right? She might stay with you. And that's why she might want to stay with you. But as a Ronin guy, you have your own needs. So, of course, she might want to stay with you. But why would you want to stay with her? What would be a reason why you'd want to be with a woman? Whether you got several girls or it's all the same. Same rules for each one. Why would you want one girl or many girls? Each girl of the many, why would you want them? It's because they're still stoked on you, okay? And they dig you. And they feel, like she says, feel connected, right? They want to have sex with you. So the minute she stops having sex, that's another true, go watch Sexless Relationships. One of my best videos ever, definitely. Sexless Relationships is a fucking masterpiece. I worked on that for so long. I have tried to remake that, I think, 21 times. And I did not post it till it was fucking perfect. That video is fucking perfect. Everything I wanted to say is in there. Nothing is misconstrued or missing. But then when she doesn't have sex with you, that's when you know it's over. So there's nothing to... The Ronin way is that you are not an emotional animal. Like all men are. Really. Men are all emotional. They always say they're logical. No. The reason why they're emotional is because they don't know solutions. Okay? They don't understand what's happening to them, and they don't have solutions. They have a deep desire to not be emotional. But if you don't have the logic, the reasons, the telltale signs to make a move, and you don't know what move to make, you're going to fall into this period where you're just unhappy and you can't figure it out. And a lot of guys on the channel were like that before this channel. And before other channels that helped them a lot. And they're like, man, I did not know what was going on. And I was just angry, right? That's emotion, right? So why am I not emotional? It's not a brag. No, not at all. I'm going to explain it right here. Once she stops having sex, once she no longer is happy to see me, okay, there's certain telltale signs. I don't just take one and leave the minute. I do a couple. I might take a little bit, think of a few, depending on the situation, depending on how committed I am in this situation. Obviously, if you're staying at her house, you're in Tokyo and you're staying at her house, you might be a little more forgiving if you need a house, for a couple of days. But generally what I do, here's the thing, is I immediately accept reality, okay? Because I know women's nature, okay? And because I understand she's not going to love me forever, it's not going to happen. I know that someday will come when she will no longer love me. Okay? I already know that. So when she doesn't love me, I'm not surprised. I might be surprised because I expected it to last longer, or I might be surprised because something happened earlier or something, or I might be just shocked for whatever reason. Because I thought it was going to, whatever. But then I say, oh, right, these always end. Okay, the women eventually don't love you. So you say, that's a bad sign. And then you just say to yourself, you go into the bathroom by yourself and you put your head in your hands and say, you know what? I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure this is it. She doesn't love me anymore. I'm pretty sure. Now, when I go back outside, don't let anything peek out because you're not sure yet and you haven't made a decision yet. So you never talk to women about these things. There's nothing to talk about. No, you really don't have to talk to anybody. You basically go in your mind, you say, wait, I think something very bad is happening, but I'm not sure. So don't react because you don't know what to do and you're not sure. So you just say, okay, one very serious red flag. Maybe put a note on your phone. and then you look for another one. Okay? And it could be like a serious sign of disrespect. Okay? And it could be numerous things. Let me give you an example of disrespect. So I had a girlfriend, and one day we were having like a little party, and she said to me, she said, who would you screw, or, who would you sleep with if I gave you a hall pass? Okay, hall pass. And I've never had a woman ask me that before, because most women know better than to ask me that, because I'm the kind of guy that I don't need a hall pass. I can get women and she'll never know. I can go pick up a woman and just keep it on the down low, because I have emotional discipline. And if I need something, I'm going to go get it. So the idea that a woman gives me the right to do what I want to do is not the case for me. I would never agree to a hall pass. And why wouldn't I agree to a hall pass? Well, one, like I said, it's not her choice. But also, two, very important, is if I'm going to cheat, okay, if I'm going to sleep with somebody else, I'm going to be a black box until I know what I'm going to do. So you need to know the ramifications of what your decisions, your actions, and you need to know your choices. You need to know how you feel about your choices, how long it's going to take to line up your choices. You need to know a lot of things before you let her know you're going to do something like that. Something like that is going to be on the down low. And if you're a normal guy listening to this, you shouldn't even cheat, because if you do, you're going to fuck it up. She's going to find out anyway, because you're going to do it all wrong. So, but for me, I already know, it's no problem. But I'm not sure what I want to do at this point. Like I don't. Let me think if I can say this better, or another way too, so you can understand it better. I don't cheat. I don't, like most guys, the reason why they want to cheat is because they're not getting what they want in a relationship. So they're like, well, I'm going to go get that outside the relationship. For me, the thinking is completely different. When I'm not getting what I want, I'm going to leave. Okay, because I don't have any hard feelings, because I knew eventually, things were going to work out anyway. I mean, we all pass away. Things are all temporary. So I'm like, okay, if things aren't going well, the last thing I'm going to do is get deeper involved with her, right? If she's not giving me what I want, if she doesn't love me, then there's nothing here for me, right? There's nothing. Like, even if she needs shelter and money, that's really not my concern. If I need shelter, that's my concern, right? So she has a right to have her concerns. I agree with that. So she has a right to stay with you, even if she doesn't love you. And you have a right, if you need shelter or housing, or you lost all your money, you have a right to need her for that. Okay. But the other person is not bound by that. So if you need her for that, or she needs you for that, the other person can say, no, I understand that this makes it easier for you, but instead, I want you to go out and get a job or earn money, or I want you to go figure it out, because I'm not getting what I want. Like, both of us in a relationship, friendship, relationship, you're responsible for making sure the relationship fits your needs. It's not selfish. It's just something that you need to do. You need to know, and she needs to know. And the two things are not the same. So separate the two. What you need, what she needs. So does she need housing from you, or does she want housing? Usually she wants housing, because these days we don't need housing. You're going to find something out. There's a shelter. There's a cheap place you can go. There's an inexpensive country you can go to. There's options. And same with you. You never need a woman for that kind of stuff. If you think you need them, you're out of your mind. You got to examine your head. You got to learn to live cheaper, because never do that to yourself as a man. Worst idea. That's why I don't talk about sugar mamas. because I think it's interesting to get them and realize that not all women need the same things and give you a new perspective. But after that's done, you go back to being a man, a regular guy. You don't rely on women. You don't need that because you already got the skills yourself for things, right? That's why there's no Sugar Mama Part 2. Okay, so in this scenario with the woman here, she's saying not feel connected. Okay, what that means in woman speak is that she no longer loves you. And she's staying for another reason. Okay, so that means it's over. Okay, the dog is dead. That's what that means. The dog is dead. And you're going to have to deal with a dead dog. Either by staying with the dead dog that smells and rots and causes disease, or you're going to make the right decision. You're going to properly take care of the situation in a kind and intelligent and non-emotional way, and you're going to move on. Or you're going to make a very bad decision to go in deeper, which is why I would never say, oh, I get a whole pass. I get mommy, thank you so much for my right to go and do what I want. Geez, that's so nice. Men have always had multiple women in history. If you're a cool guy, you have a right. I mean, this is bullshit. Like, this is nothing to talk about. If you're a cool guy, like, you're going to have more than one chick most of the time. A lot of time you're going to have these chicks giving you, it's like this guy on the bus. He's got all his bags on the bus, and I get on. And then he, like, ignores me. And then finally, when I, point to it, then he's like, he moves him. He's like, please, as if he owns this. He doesn't own the seat, right? It's like, dude, it's a public bus. Get your fucking shit. I'm not going to say that, but like, get your fucking shit out of the way. I'm sitting down. It's my seat. And shut the fuck up. Those people, they think they own public spaces, right? Because they, whatever reason, basically retards. But this is the same kind of thing with the whole path. It's like you're going to give me a right to sit down? Like, what? That's my seat. Like, what are you talking about? A woman is going to tell me that I have a right to things? What planet? I'm never going to, again, never tell a woman any of this. This is for you and the boys. The boys don't hear anything like this from me. The girls, they don't hear anything. It's just like, I'm like, okay, well, she, quote unquote, doesn't feel connected to me. She doesn't love me. Okay. And then I add the things up and I say, okay, well, this dog is dead. Right? Then I go listen to the Dog is Dead episode from one of the previous Austin summits. Good things come out of summits, especially when you share honestly and you ask tough questions. Then it gets me to fucking dig within myself and then explain it. Because I already know it, but I don't know that I know it sometimes. And I don't know that other people don't know it. Because it's like fluent with me. I just go to it, And then someone's like, why'd you do that? It's like, oh, that's when you do it then. And they're like, yeah, but why? Why? What's behind that? And then I'm like, oh, I have reasons. Like, oh yeah, those things. Oh, that situation, And then I can explain it, and it helps me too. A good summit really helps me because it pulls out ideas that I know, and it creates great value to others. The dog is dead, right? So go listen to the Dog is Dead episode now. Before you do anything, you haven't let her know anything. You saw her at a party. You came up to her. You talked to her. You know what I mean? Like nothing happened. Hey, how's it going? How was work? But right? Right? So you've tested her, those two things I said. And there's going to be more I'll think of. But basically, you are now sure the dog is dead. Make sure you're sure. Okay? Because again, you're being a black box about all this stuff. Even to your friends, nobody. Because there's nothing to talk about. See, the reason why people talk about relationships is because they don't understand life. When you understand, you'll know, okay? You might not like it, that women will fall out of love with you and won't love you and will stay with you for money. And that is not good for you. You can still be friends with her, Okay, later, that's fine. It doesn't matter. Like, you don't hold it against people. You don't get angry. You don't have big fights because you're just like, no, honestly, like what I might say, I never would say this hardly, but it depends on the situation. I might say something like, when I finally decide I like, look, honestly, I still love you. Okay, but I know you don't love me anymore. I might make that, the more skilled you get with women, the more dangerous conversations you'll have. I don't recommend this conversation, but I might do this. I might say, look, I know you loved me before. I know you did. And it was great. I really enjoyed it. And I know that you don't love me in that same way anymore. And that's fine. I totally accept that. And it's sad because I did love you in that way. But it's all fair. It's all fair. I mean, I want you to be happy, and I want you to find the love that you love, the person you love, right? That's why I'm taking off. And then she'll be like, she'll admit it. Like if you say it the right way, she'll be like, yeah, not loving the same way, but I still love you in this other retarded way. That's what she'll say. Yeah, not in the love way, but now I love you in the roommate way. I love you in the you're a fucking retard getting R-worded way. That's the way I love you now. And you're like, well, that's very nice. That's very nice. And most guys would accept that, because they're like, oh, I get to keep this hot chick on my arm if he's a hot chick, right? Because they need that. But see, you don't need that because you realize that women come and go. And one day you have a hot chick, next day you have another. It doesn't. You are the same person. One day you have many girls, next day you have none. One day you have money, social status, next day you don't. And the next day you do. And you realize you can see your friends clear, you can see yourself clear, and you can see your value clear, right? And you no longer are just like a boat going up and down with the tide on all these things. So you're like, do I want this emotional high tide she's offering? Yeah, but I love you even more because I see you as so strong and all these logical reasons. And then you're just like, yeah, I know. That's great, and we can be good friends, because I appreciate that you see me that way, but I want somebody that loves me, period. You know what I mean? And I appreciate that neither of us can control this. And you know what I mean? Like, and then I loved you until I realized that it wasn't reciprocated. And I realized that it's a fool's errand for me. And I pray that I don't fall into these things. And I don't want you to either. I don't want you to stay with somebody who doesn't love them anymore. I want you to be happy. Really, I want you to go and be happy. But I realize that it's over. And then we both did good, And it's been great being with you. All the times have been good. I'll even mention times. That time when you made me feel good after that one thing and that game and when I came back and this, you were so funny and you were so cute that one day. I might even tell her stuff she doesn't know. I might say that one day when you were standing by the window and I was looking at you smiling, I was thinking that you look so beautiful with the light coming through your hair. And it was just a gorgeous scene. You look like an angel then. And the girl will be like, what? They'll be confused when I'm breaking up because they'll be like, wait, that's like a really nice thing to say. And it's true. That's the other thing. It's totally true. I did love her in that moment. And that's why it's so powerful. And she's like, she'll realize that it's over. That you are a logical, like women are logical when it comes to relationships. Men are emotional. Men are emotional, logical about other things. But in relationships, men are logical, men are emotional about relationships. Logical about work. Women are emotional about work and everything else, neighbors and everything. They're logical about relationships. That's the big difference when men. People say, oh, men are logical. Not about relationships. And women are emotional. Not about relationships. That's number one. Women are completely logical. Ice cold logical. Unless they're very young and there's certain things and there's going to be extremes that break the mold, but 99% in a marriage, in a long-term relationship, 100%. Women are logical. And they will stay with you for logical reasons. And they'll find their emotional support from the guy at work. And guess what comes next? The sexual. So the emotional and the sexual are tied with women. So the minute she doesn't emotionally love you, she's going to start having sex with another guy. First in her mind, and then with her body. And here's the other thing about women. They will never love you again. Okay? So that's what you need to understand. Love dies in a moment with women. It's not a gradual thing. It's in a moment. Like a bridge collapses in a moment. It takes a long time for it to collapse, but when it collapses, there ain't no stopping it. Same with a landslide, right? Once it goes, it's just like, whoa. That's how women's love is. Once it goes, and it's all inside of her mind, the dog is dead. And it could be a crazy reason. So keep in mind, a woman could have a dream about you cheating, and she can be so emotional about that cheating because she got cheated on before that she suddenly wakes up and no longer sees you as safe, even though she knows that it was a dream, but she still sees you in this new way. It's kind of like a guy who takes too much psychedelics. And I knew a guy, he told me, he said, I forgot what it was that he thought when he was on, he took too many, and then he thought something about really, I don't even want to think about what he said because it might transfer to somebody else because it's like one of these weird things. But anyway, he told me, and he said for a year, he was like terrified of this illogical thing. And that's kind of how women are. They know the truth, but they don't, it just doesn't work anymore. The bridge is collapsed. The dog is dead. Can't bring it back to life. Okay, so what did you learn here? A lot of things. I can maybe make a list later, or you can help me make a list of all the things here. Let's watch the rest of this.
If we don't, it's scary. And so we have to diminish the power. So we will attack them when they're happy. They come home, they caught a big fish, or whatever it was they did. If it wasn't something that I did that gave you that feeling, then that's a problem.
Okay, so now, look at the laugh on the other woman. This is a real laugh. Let's see. Do you see her eyes? Her eyes are laughing. Go. So this is a really good video. This is not BS. This older woman's telling the truth. This is absolutely true. Is that now here's I'll just break this down real quick. So she's saying, if I didn't cause him to feel happy, and he is happy, it makes me angry. Now I'm going to say two things about that. One, guys can be like this too. Okay, for example, let's say you hear your friend laughing on the phone. Sometimes it can kind of piss you off because you're like, you're not part of it. Like you want to be like, well, what is he laughing at? You get paranoid too. Like you do. You're like, depending on who's laughing and how they're laughing, you're kind of like, oh shit, are they laughing at me? Or did the guy just, or even just like, what is so funny? Like, bring me in on it. You know what I mean? And like, we do get a little bit, human beings get a little bit upset when somebody's like really, really happy, right? And of course you have to like, that's a stupid part of your brain. It's the negative side of your brain. You don't let it take over. You got to go, oh, geez, I got to get a control of that one ASAP. So guys can do this. So you can at least you can understand where a woman's coming from. For a woman, it's 1,000 million times more. Okay, so if you're even happy because you did something great, like you started a rocket company or you just made $1 million, it's like she's pissed because it's like she's not in control of that. And you might wander off, or she just feels small because she's insecure. I don't know every reason why a woman would be like this, but I will tell you this, and this is my take on it, is that the key thing that she's not saying here is when a woman does love you, she doesn't feel this as much, even though it's natural. Like say you're laughing super hard on the phone, and you might even look over at her because it's like, you might look over at her because you're like, oh my God, she's going to think this is so funny. I can't wait to tell her. And so you look over at her if she loves you, she's not going to be so paranoid, because she's going to be like, oh, I can't wait. Oh, what is it? Oh, he's laughing. Oh, what is it? You know, whereas if she fucking already hates you, basically with the dog is dead, the woman despises you, okay? The dog is fucking, I don't use that word lightly. Like, she despises you now. She hates your presence. She just wants your money or your time or whatever it is. You're building a house. She wants something from you. Basically, it's like the Japanese thing, sodaigomi. Big garbage, right? As long as the guy is going to work at 6 in the morning, comes home 10 o'clock at night, goes to sleep, sleeps all day on Saturday, hangs around for 6 hours on Sunday. She loves him. He brings in all the money, very little time with her. Insurance is covered, house is covered. So Daigomi, he's not big garbage, big unwanted large trash in the house that's in my way, that's pissing me off. But as soon as he's retired, then he's Sodaigomi, because now the money is already there. No more money to be made. Now he's spending money, right? And now he's there all the time. So she hated him long before Sodaigomi. Okay? Before she saw him as a big piece of trash. And this is no joke. I'm talking, when I say the dog is dead, they hate you. They don't want you anymore. They despise the way you breathe, everything about your face, everything about your jokes, your expression. Like, you got to get out of there before she starts poisoning you, basically. Whether mentally, physically. Like, I'm serious. That's why I'm not married. Like, it just doesn't last forever for me. I want real love. That's it. Friends, too. Like, I'm looking for a good life. And I deserve it. I love it. I give it to other people, too. Because if I don't like somebody anymore, there's a point where the love is not there. I'm not there. Like, I physically won't be there. I mean, I do have a pretty tough series of tests I do before I make a decision. I'm not like other guys where, like, they quickly make. I take my time. I make sure that I'm right, and I make sure I got the options down. What I should do, what I'm going to do, what is going to be the smart thing to do, what I'm going to do next, how I'm going to do it. Then I do it. It's not emotional, and then I move on, and I'm free again. Period. So that's it. So let's see if there's anything else to learn from this.
Excited to go with your friends.
That's supposed to make you happy.
Yeah, so that's it. That's basically all we got on that one. I just thought there was one other thing you should see here. I was reading about the jewels, and both the manager, or what is she called, the director or whatever of the museum in France, she's a DEI hire, and the security person who didn't have security background, she was a DEI hire. So now it's months later. None of the jewels, except for the ones the thieves dropped in the street, have been recovered. So I think there's a lot of DEI hires going on here. Like they caught some of they don't have any of the jewels. Like, they got the guys. Like, the guys who did it, they got some of the guys. And yet they got 0 jewels. It just smells of incompetence. It just smells of DEI all the way through the French security forces. And then here's another thing. Why did they get rid of the death penalty? I mean, I'm serious. Like, some things, they are so serious, they deserve the ultimate punishment. I'm not saying this does, but I think that we need to consider that there's certain things that do. And here, this one here. The gems were not properly insured in accordance with French laws. So not only were they not protected, the woman in charge of security didn't know security. There was no working cameras on the floor. The window had no bars. There was no insurance. Like, have you ever been to France? You know how easy it is to get into those old buildings? The window is just a simple pane of glass. Now there's a video you can watch of the attack. Like, it's so ridiculous. They just walk in, go in, take the stuff, leave, drop one thing, things are gone, and people stop talking about it. But I mean, like, this shit is serious in my mind. And the gems were not insured, properly insured. in accordance with, so not only were they not insured, but there's a French law that says how they have to be insured. And the director, a woman, DEI hire, did not do that. Did not pay, did not check. Meanwhile, she's hiring women who have no experience to do all the other things. And do you have any doubt that the women in charge of, the investigation, do you have any faith? I mean, there's a point where, have you ever had a car where it's just such a piece of shit? It's got like 3 million miles on an old Nissan truck or from like 1982, like where the whole thing just falls apart. The transmission, your foot goes through the floor, the the thing around the front window just rusts off where the window falls out. Like there's a point where the wheel falls off, like the axle breaks. Like there's a point in a mechanical product where it's just unfixable, right? And it's even what is it called? Not repairable, but restorable. Like you just can't, there's nothing left. Like you just need a whole new car. And that's kind of what we need here in France. We need somebody to go in there and just clean house. Everybody fired. Everybody out. Everybody has to interview for their jobs again. And a very tough interview process. And if people are proven to have broken French law, prison. Break law, jail. Break law, prison. Break law, fines. Right? Breaking the law has to have consequences. But guess what? They're not talking about that. You know why? Because there's not going to be any consequences for the director or for the security person. That's why things are not going to change in our lifetime. Period. Okay? That's why you got to have your house on wheels. You got to be able to travel. Because no place is reliable anymore, including Thailand. You need to have your house on wheels. You need to be flexible. You need to be intelligent. You need to be experienced. You need to have various things ready to go in a Ronin way, not a prepper way, where you're in one place with concrete walls and a basement. No, this is more of the fucking. You're like James Bond going around. You go around the world like you're not stuck in any one place, any one woman, any one set of laws, any one jurisdiction. You have options. You don't ever have to use them. You might not have to, but you have options. Because the West is not reliable anymore. I mean, look, nobody's going to jail. French law broken. Where? If they can't, and it's a metaphor too for France. The crown jewels of French culture are being taken. They were taken already. Go walk down the Champs-Élysées. When last time I was in France was 1988, and I went to France many times, in 87 and 88. My sister was there. I went there a lot, and I stayed for a long time too. I really like France. I love French culture, and she lived near the Champs-Élysées. She was at a little station called Ternes, near Charles de Gaulle, Troyes, and one little stop away. And I just walk around there. I could walk to the Arc de Triomphe. And when I was there, France was basically French guys smoking a cigarette, reading a newspaper, dressed nice, in a coffee shop, speaking French. Everybody except me was speaking French. And it was safe, utterly safe. Never had one time when I felt unsafe. And now, the crown jewels are gone. The crown jewels of French culture are gone. And they will be entirely erased by immigration. So French culture will be like the Mayans or the Babylonians. We will study French culture in the future of something that used to exist, but no longer exists. The crown jewels are gone, physical and metaphorically. So, you just need to know when the dog is dead. You can still love it. I still love it. There's a lot of good French guys on Ronin, man. But at the same time, we know how great how great things were. And we know that there's something there. We know there's something beautiful there. And that never goes away in our hearts, right? Whenever we know something great, you knew a great person. Even though the person passed away, they're still with you. They're still there. Your life is different because of them. And they pass. All things pass, right? So you still have what you had. But unfortunately, new generations will not see in the living, real way, right? Because it's doomed because of demographics. The French culture is doomed. And many other cultures are doomed, sadly. In our lifetime, like Babylonians and the Mayans is happening today. It's happening in Europe. And anybody who doesn't think like the Romans, the Babylonians, the Phoenicians, these groups, they don't exist. What makes you think? What in your deluded, clouded thinking makes you think this could never happen again? Because it's 2026? The sun came up in 1700. Sun comes up in 2026. Sun goes down. Gravity's still here. Life is still going on. Cultures change. Other cultures replace them, whether for good or bad. Just like if you bring an invasive fish or snake into the Everglades, it will kill the native fish. Either through demographics, like slow change over time, or with violent mobs. Either one. So, unlike other people, and this is the big difference with Ronin Man and other guys, I see the world, but I don't feel sad. Because I know other cultures disappeared. And I'm glad I got to see things. I'm glad I started traveling young. I'm glad I saw California in the 70s. I'm glad my life is what it is. I treasure times with my grandparents who were gone, my grandfather, and other neighbors and people that were great to me.